Have you ever woken up on a crisp autumn morning, the sun filtering through your curtains like a gentle invitation, only to feel that familiar weight settle in? You glance at the calendar. There's that project you've been meaning to tackle, the call to a dear friend you postponed, or perhaps the quiet dream of finally taking up painting again. Your mind races ahead. I'll start tomorrow. Today, I just need a moment to breathe. And before you know it, the day slips away like sand through your fingers, leaving a quiet ache of what might have been. My dear friend, if this story echoes in your heart, know this. You're not broken, and you're certainly not alone. Procrastination isn't a flaw in your character. It's a whisper from a life that's been full of demands, responsibilities, and the subtle fears that come with wisdom earned over decades. But here's the bold truth that can change everything right now. You hold the power to rewrite this chapter, not with overwhelming force, but with the kind, intelligent grace that your years have taught you. Today, in this space we've carved out just for you, we're going to gently unpack how to stop procrastinating and start winning, not as a sprint, but as a steady, soul-nourishing walk toward the life you deserve. Let's begin this journey together, hand in hand, one revealing step at a time. To truly triumph over procrastination, we must first shine a compassionate light on its hidden roots. You see, at its core, procrastination isn't about laziness or a lack of willpower, as society so often mislabels it. No, it's far more nuanced. A protective response from our deepest selves, often rooted in fear, overwhelm, or even the echoes of past disappointments. Think about it. In our 50s, 60s, and beyond, we've navigated careers that demanded perfection, families that pulled at our hearts, and a world that moves faster than it did in our youth. These experiences leave imprints, subtle triggers that say, if I don't start, I can't fail. But awareness is a soft dawn that dissolves these shadows. Let's pause here for a moment and invite you to reflect. What does procrastination feel like for you? Is it a knot in your stomach when facing a blank page, or a foggy haze that descends in the afternoon? By naming it, we disarm it. Allow me to introduce you to Sarah, a vibrant 55-year-old schoolteacher from the rolling hills of Texas, whose story mirrors so many of ours. Sarah had always harbored a dream to pen a memoir about her family's migration stories, tales of resilience passed down from her grandparents, rich with laughter and lessons. Yet, for years, that dream gathered dust on her shelf, buried under stacks of lesson plans and the quiet dread of, what if it's not profound enough? What if no one cares? Her procrastination was a rebellion. It was armor against vulnerability. One evening, after a particularly exhausting parent-teacher conference, Sarah sat with a simple journal and a cup of chamomile tea. She didn't force words onto the page. Instead, she asked herself, what am I truly afraid of here? The answers flowed. Fear of judgment, echoes of a childhood where her ideas were dismissed, and the overwhelm of structuring something so personal. That honest excavation took just 20 minutes, but it shifted everything. The next day, she wrote one sentence. Then two. Today, her manuscript is half complete, and she's even joined a local writing circle where her voice is celebrated. Sarah's turning point? Recognizing that her trigger, perfectionism, wasn't a stop sign, but a signpost guiding her to start imperfectly. So, I invite you, tonight, or perhaps right after this video, take a quiet moment with pen and paper. List 3 triggers that hold you back. No judgment, just gentle curiosity. This isn't analysis paralysis. It's the intelligent first step toward freedom. And remember, in understanding ourselves with such care, we begin to win, not against time, but alongside it. Now that we've illuminated those triggers, let's move into the heart of action, breaking your tasks into tiny, achievable steps that feel less like burdens and more like invitations. Overwhelm is procrastination's greatest ally. It paints our goals as towering Everest peaks, unreachable and exhausting. But here's a liberating truth. Every mountain is merely a collection of small stones, and we were born to place them one by one. This isn't about hacking your productivity with apps or timers, though those have their place. It's about honoring the rhythm of midlife, where energy ebbs and flows like the tides we've learned to navigate. By slicing tasks into micro moments, we create space for joy in the doing, turning I have to into I get to. Imagine the relief of momentum building, not from force, but from flow. Let me share the tale of John, a 62-year-old retired engineer from the misty countryside of rural England, whose garage had become a metaphor for his stalled dreams. For over a decade, that space overflowed with boxes of forgotten tools, yellow blueprints from his railway days, and mementos from travels he promised himself but never fully took. John longed to reclaim it as a workshop for woodworking, a hobby he'd eyed since his 40s, envisioning handmade shelves for his grandchildren. Yet, the sheer chaos paralyzed him. One glance inside, and he'd retreat to the garden with excuses about the weather. One crisp spring morning, inspired by a podcast on small wins, John decided to experiment. He didn't tackle the whole garage. No, he chose one shelf, the one nearest the door, cluttered with old paint cans. Setting a gentle timer for just 15 minutes, he sorted 3 items: keep, donate, or toss. As the buzzer sounded, he cleared a corner, and something magical happened. A spark of satisfaction, like rediscovering an old friend. That tiny victory whispered, "You can do more." The next day, another 15 minutes for the adjacent shelf. Within a month, the garage gleamed, and John was crafting his first birdhouse, the scent of fresh pine filling the air. His secret? He analyzed the overwhelm not as a flaw, but as a signal to scale down. Each step revealed not just order, but a deeper truth. Progress begets progress, and in midlife, our wins are sweeter for their patience. So, how do we apply this wisdom to your life? Start with your most pressing mountain. Perhaps it's organizing family photos before their loss of time, or reigniting a fitness routine after years of desk-bound days. Write it down, then dissect it. What's the smallest, kindest first stone? If it's photos, begin with one drawer, labeling just 5 envelopes. If it's exercise, commit to 5 minutes of stretching by the window, feeling the sun on your skin. Track these in a simple notebook, not for pressure, but for the quiet delight of witnessing your own capability. And here's a deeper layer to consider. These micro steps rewire our brains gently, releasing dopamine, the feel-good chemical that combats the drag of delay. Science whispers that consistency in small acts builds neural pathways of confidence, much like trails worn into a forest path over faithful footsteps. You're not just clearing clutter. You're sculpting a self that trusts its own strength. Feel that? That's the edge of winning, my friend. Subtle, yet profound. Building on these foundations, let's weave in the power of supportive routines, those daily rituals that transform intention into effortless habit. Habits aren't chains that bind us. They're the warm threads that stitch our aspirations into the fabric of our days. In our later years, we've learned that willpower is a finite resource, like the evening light that fades too soon. But routines? They operate on autopilot, freeing our minds to what truly matters: presence, creativity, joy. The key is to craft them with intelligence, linking new behaviors to existing anchors in your life so they feel familiar, not foreign. This is about rigid schedules that leave no room for spontaneity. It's about gentle scaffolding that lifts you toward your best self. Picture Linda, a spirited 68-year-old grandmother from the sun-drenched suburbs of Sydney, Australia, whose garden had long been a symbol of neglected potential. Once a thriving oasis in her youth, it had withered into weeds and bare patches amid the bustle of raising 3 grandchildren and volunteering at the local library. Linda yearned to revive it, to plant herbs for her famous Sunday roasts and flowers that would draw bees and butterflies, a living legacy for her family. But procrastination crept in, disguised as, "I'm too tired after lunch," or "the tools are in the shed tomorrow." Her afternoons blurred into novels and naps, leaving a pang of regret. Then, during a quiet walk along the harbor, Linda reflected on her most reliable routine: the sacred morning tea with her late husband's photo, a ritual of gratitude that grounded her. What if, she wondered, she tethered her gardening to this? The next day, after her tea steeped just so, she stepped outside for 10 minutes. No more. She pulled 2 weeds, her hands in the earth feeling alive, connected to the soil's quiet wisdom. That small linkage turned into will. Days became weeks. Her garden burst into color: rosemary for remembrance, lavender for peace. Now, Her grandchildren help harvest, their laughter mingling with the birdsong. Linda's insight? Routines thrive on association, not isolation. By analyzing her energy patterns, mornings for creation, evenings for reflection, she built a system that honored her body's rhythms, turning delay into delight. For you, dear listener, let's make this personal and precise. Audit your day with kindness. What anchors already exist? Your morning coffee? The evening unwind with a book? Pair your anti-procrastination goal to one. Say, after coffee, spend 5 minutes outlining that email you dodged. Use if-then magic. If it's 7 a.m. and I've savored my brew, then I'll jot one note toward my project. To deepen this, consider psychology. Habits form through repetition and context, as studies from habit experts like James Clear illuminate. Cues trigger actions. Rewards reinforce them. Add a micro-reward, a favorite song after your step, or a deep breath of accomplishment. Over time, this compounds, not just in tasks completed, but in a profound shift, a sense of agency that whispers, I am the architect of my days. And in midlife, where time feels both precious and abundant, this is winning. Living not in pursuit of goals, but in harmony with them. Yet, even the most thoughtful strategies falter without tending to our energy, the vital force that fuels every endeavor. Time management is a popular mantra, but in truth, it's energy we must steward, especially as our bodies remind us of their evolving needs. Procrastination often peaks when we're depleted, not defiant. Those mid-afternoon slumps or restless nights that scatter our focus like autumn leaves. The intelligent approach? Map your peaks and valleys with the care of a seasoned navigator, scheduling high-stakes tasks for your golden hours, and weaving in renewal like threads of gold in a tapestry. Envision Robert, a thoughtful 58-year-old business consultant from the bustling Bay Area in California, whose days were a whirlwind of virtual meetings and strategy sessions. Robert thrived on ideas, but procrastination ambushed him in the afternoons. Emails left unanswered, proposals half-drafted, as fatigue turned his sharp mind to mush. He'd berate himself, brewing stronger coffee or powering through, only to crash harder later. It wasn't until a wellness retreat in the Redwoods that he paused, analyzed. His energy crested in the morning light, after a night of solid sleep, but dipped post-lunch like clockwork. Inspired, Robert redesigned his rhythm. Tough calls now happen at 9 a.m., post a 10-minute meditation overlooking the Pacific. Breaths syncing with waves, centering his spirit. Afternoons became for lighter lifts. Creative brainstorming with soft music, punctuated by a 20-minute walk in the neighborhood park, where eucalyptus scented the air and cleared as cobwebs. Evenings? Sacred rest. No screens after 8 p.m., replaced by journaling 3 gratitudes. The transformation was subtle at first. Fewer delays, more flow. Clients noticed his renewed clarity. Robert felt a quiet vitality, like reclaiming a forgotten vigor. His story teaches us, energy isn't infinite, but it's renewable through attunement. Apply this with your own gentle inquiry. Track your energy for a week, not with apps, but a simple evening note. When did I feel most alive, most adrift? Align accordingly. Reserve morning for deep work if you're a dawn riser, or evenings for reflection if twilight calls you. Layer in science-backed bombs. Short naps under 20 minutes to recharge without grogginess, or hydration rituals that sustain your cells. Hydration, sharpens cognition more than we credit. Our brains are 75% water, after all. And don't overlook the emotional layer. Procrastination drains when unprocessed feelings linger, so pair energy management with a 5-minute heart check. What am I carrying? Release it with a sigh or a stretch. This holistic tending isn't indulgence. It's the wise investment that multiplies your capacity, turning potential pitfalls into platforms for profound achievement. Finally, as we near the summit of our exploration, let's embrace the art of self-forgiveness and unyielding persistence. The quiet heroes that turn stumbles into strides. Slips are inevitable. They're the human brushstrokes in our masterpiece, not erasers of progress. In midlife, we weather storms that younger selves couldn't fathom, losses, pivots, the raw beauty of impermanence. Procrastination's lapses test us, but forgiveness is the balm that heals and propels. It's not excusing inaction, but releasing shame, then recommitting with the tenderness of an old friend. Persistence then becomes less grit and more grace, a daily recommitment to the path, knowing detours enrich the view. Meet Emily, a resilient 72-year-old widow from the vibrant streets of New York City, whose journey with the piano is a testament to this truth. After her husband passed, Emily discovered an upright piano in their brownstone, a relic from his youth. She longed to learn to play Clair de Lune for quiet evenings, filling the home with melody instead of silence. Lessons began with enthusiasm, but early fumbles, chords that clashed like discordant memories, unleashed procrastination. Fingers froze, practice skipped for errands or endless tea refills. "I'm too old for this," the inner critic sneered. One rainy afternoon, Emily sat at the keys, not to play, but to listen to her heart. She forgave the wasted weeks, whispering, "Progress blooms in its season, not mine to force." Analyzing the block, she saw it rooted in grief's shadow, fear that music would unearth tears. With compassion, she restarted small, 5 minutes daily, scales only, ending with a phrase she loved. Persistence woven, on off days, she'd hum the tune while folding laundry, keeping the flame alive. Months later, Clair de Lune flowed from her hands, imperfect yet poignant, shared with wide-eyed great-grandchildren. Emily's wisdom? Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's fertilizing the soil for growth. Her persistence, gentle as a metronome's tick, transformed hesitation into harmony. For your path, cultivate this duo deliberately. When a slip occurs, and it will pause, not punish. Say aloud, "I release this moment. I choose the next." Then recommit with a microaffirmation. One breath, one note, one step. Delve deeper. Research in positive psychology shows self-compassion boosts motivation more than self-criticism, activating the same brain regions as loving a dear one. Track patterns without woe. What preceded the delay? Adjust with kindness. Over time, this forges resilience, the midlife superpower that says, "I've fallen before, I rise wiser." You're not just overcoming procrastination. You're authoring a narrative of triumph, where every return of the path is a victory etched in your soul. As our time together draws to a close, let's linger in this sacred pause, a quiet meadow after our thoughtful climb. Breathe in the insights we've gathered. The triggers unveiled with care, tasks tenderly broken, routines rooted in rhythm, energy honored as ally, and persistence paired with profound forgiveness. Feel them settle, like roots finding soil. Which thread resonates deepest in your heart? The story that mirrored your own, or the strategy you'll whisper to yourself come morning? Hold it close. It's your compass now. I'd cherish hearing from you in the comments below. Share your biggest procrastination whisperer, or the one gem that lit a spark. Your words aren't just replies, they're bridges, connecting us in the shared pursuit of fuller living. If this journey stirred your spirit, please like the video to signal its light to others. Subscribe for more heartfelt explorations into the art of thriving, and share it with that friend or family member whose delay you see in your own mirror. Every share ripples. Every connection amplifies the gentle revolution of winning from within. Thank you from the depths of my heart for walking this path with me today. Go forth, my friend, not in haste, but in the warm certainty that you are already winning, one compassionate choice at a time. Until we meet again, be kind to yourself.